Now, it's not like even when I was locking my keys in the house or stuff like that, right? That it don't happen once in a while, even at 185 East Avenue. Right? Only thing is, I had a different way in than now. And still, right, I have to deal with normal things like that. We can all do that, right? Now, what I shouldn't have to deal with is an extra CD turning up out of nowhere where I only already had the set, right? That's unusual, right? That's not something that you normally have to deal with, right? Right. Now, the person who's doing this, though, whatever encounter we met at, either the wreck or the fall, they don't know me one way or the other before the wreck or the fall, right? Now, some of the things, though, could be similar, right? And some of the things could be different. Now, some people, like, they might have heard of Bruce Lee, but that don't mean everybody who heard of Bruce Lee is gonna go into martial arts, right? If you do, you might not be able to get into Kung Fu. Because, see, one of the things you need is a Kung Fu teacher, right? A Sifu, right? If you don't have one of those, okay, you can't learn nothing but from a book or something, and then you're not really doing anything that isn't just a little bit of self-defense things, right? That if someone knows more about it than you do, it could probably just get you hurt worse, right? Than more than anything else, right? Unless you find someone in the area you're in, like I told you before, to teach you something about the martial arts. You're kind of wasting your time anyway. But guess what? We had that here, right? My martial arts instructor named Cliff Vian, right? But like I told you, right? Even then, I don't know who you are. You don't know who I am. You don't know what I can do from what I can't do either. Now, to me, okay, scaling a 3-story building might not be a big deal. Why? Because I did it in my training, right? And a friend at least could scale a 1 to 2-story building, right? Well, that's all you need if you can get to the second floor window or something, or the third floor window, right? That's not like jumping from the roof, for example. That's not, for example, suicidal if you're locked out your room and trying to get into your room, right? Because everything you own's in the room, including your clothing and your half dress, right? But now, since you studied into the art of the ninja, and you did some of the things in a book written by Stephen K. Hayes, right? By, but it's more like shadow boxing version of it, right? It's not really, anything that you would say is anything more than a one step, right? Situation, right? Now, what's the one step? Well, one step is where a martial artist is dealing with an assailant and they do a few moves to try and take care of the situation, right? It'll usually involve some kind of block or some kind of way to avoid the person hitting you or something, right? And a retaliation, right, of that person's attack. Now, we also, in self-defense moves, right, wait for you to throw the first punch, right? We don't ever throw the first punch. But the rule of thumb is you can't touch my body, and I can't touch yours without permission, right? Now, that's if you got a girlfriend or something or whatever, right? You need permission to do any of that. Now, the problem is, if someone on my ship is trying to prove I'm mentally ill, the problem is I was never diagnosed with a mental illness before I joined the Navy. Even the doctors in the Navy can't do that if I was never diagnosed with a mental illness until after I was more than in the Navy, right? Say like 2.5 years almost, right? And having to deal with this constantly daily, right? An asshole who wasn't trained, right? You see what I mean? How that would be a problem, right? Not just for me, but for him too, because something happened to him that was his fault, and he don't want to accept responsibility for his actions. So the only person he can blame is the new guy, which, like I said, if I touched a breaker and turned it from on to off, that would at least leave a palm print on the breaker. And you would have forensic evidence, right? But if I never even touched that breaker, there also should be no reason for my fingerprints to be even on it, right? Plus, people have to do that maintenance at least once a year or so many times during the course of the ship, if they're on the ship, right? It's part of how you make sure the ship is running okay, right? And nothing needs to be fixed or replaced, right? Now, usually, like I said, if you make a good product for the ship, you don't have to worry about that for a long time, usually as well. But it can sometimes break down through what's called wear and tear, right? Or time, right? That's why you do what's called monthly monitoring of the systems you have on the ship, right? And you do that to make sure everything's running at least, right? And you can at least do that, right? And something else, right? And as long as everything seems to be running smoothly, you're good. You're good, right? That's the whole point, right? Now, also, that's the point of why you stand watch, so that while you're on watch, if something were to go wrong, you got it right there. Then you can get help if you need it or fix it or whatever, right? Exactly. Now, some people, though, have lost their sense of honor or duty or loyalty, even, right? Some people don't have that idea anymore, right? If you're around such a person, what can you do about it, right? Point out the obvious, right? Now, if I lock this door, who's getting in? Whoever I let in, right? But no one can get in once that door is locked unless I let them in, right? Unless they try to break in through the garage, but then I'm going to hear them over the garage, right? Right. And it's going to wake me up, right? Unless you're playing ninja, but then I got bags in front of the door for a reason too, right? It's not easy for you to just get into my house. Even if, say, I occasionally have to leave one door open briefly. Let's say I go up to the store and I don't worry about locking the door and I'm coming right back, right? So I won't be gone more than an hour. That's not too long a time to really worry about someone coming in or not, right? Or moving stuff around, right? But that can happen if you have someone stalking you, right? And you're not stalking them, by the way. Now, whoever it is someone around me, I guess, right? But I can't tell you who, right? Because whenever things like this happens, you gotta catch them in the act, and they're smarter about it than I am, and I admit that, right? See, when it comes to stalking, they know more about how to do it to get away with it than I do, right? But then I feel like I'm the woman, and they're wanting to treat me like I'm the woman, and they're the man still wanting to be with me, right? And I keep telling them that, right? That's another thing. Some men, even if it's another man, will not accept your no as an answer if they ask you a certain question. Because see, what they're doing there is they're making up their mind about how they feel about you. In other words, it don't matter how you really feel. Okay, they know how you feel over how you really feel. And with these types of men, no matter how high they are in the offices, sir, you can't even reason with them. Right? But you don't know they're like that until their behavior starts showing as the opposite, right, of normal behavior, right? And then you're kind of stuck with them, right? You can neither be with them nor get away from them, right? All you know is they want to do something with you and you keep telling them that. Well, that creates a bad situation for you, especially if it's someone over you and they have more power than you, right? Like I said, right? And they know what to say to get you in trouble before you can even figure out what's going on. But some people think they know everything. But probably they don't. Some people forget we're learning as we go along here, right? What that means is you can make errors at the same time as you're understanding something you're supposed to understand. And if you're doing that, and let's see what's going on first. One thing we know here is everybody lives so long and then they do what? Die. Except for maybe one man who was killed but resurrected somehow. And that's the Lord Jesus Christ, right? And see, that makes that a testimony from me to you that God raised Jesus from the dead. And I know it can raise Jesus from the dead and me too if it has to, right? You understand what I mean? So don't try to kill me for no bullshit reason. God can raise me from the dead, right? By the way, too. But that does make me capable of having a better relationship with God than you do at the same time. But if you don't have the same relationship with God as I do, it's because you're doing something wrong to someone, right? Right. Mm-hmm. Well, the next space probe is going to be called Dragonfly in 2027. Okay. NASA's going to do that. And again, put the funds where you want it to go with the space exploration more than dealing with the real problems on the planet, right? Now, another problem is you don't like to share. What I mean by that is if someone comes up with an idea first, you want to give them all the credit. Well, that's bad too, right? See, that's called first come, first serve, right? The reason you can do that is sure, if you have enough people trying to figure out something, right, and you don't know what's really going on, but you figure something out, right, and you're the first one to figure it out, okay, and right. You mean nobody knew about this until you looked into it, though. Mm-hmm. But whatever it is that created everything, right? Then you found out about it finally, though it was also always here, right? It's not like all of a sudden it's like a tree falling in the woods, right? If no one is around to hear it, does it make a sound? Of course it does. Technically, whether a person hears the tree hit the ground or not, right? It's called cause and effect, right? Now, if the tree falls in the forest, right, and the tree has animals and things like that around it, okay, what is causing the tree to fall in the first place? That's what I want to know. Right? Why is all of a sudden the tree falling? And who? All right. knows anything about it except someone making a messed up hypothetical situation that don't make sense. That's really called an oxymoron, right? Or a smart dumbass, right? Now, you can be smart or you can be dumb, right? Now, if I'm calling someone a dumb ass, right, I'm using two terms. One is you're not using your head and I'm calling you dumb, right? I'm not saying it to pick on you all the time either, right? You're actually being rock dumb, right? Now, what is being dumb, right? Someone is trying to tell you something you won't even say or understand it or explain it to someone else either, right? Now, my foe here, call himself Lulabelle, my foe here isn't hearing the words I'm saying are in the Bible and people aren't saying it anymore, right? That's all that means, right? And you're pretending you don't know what it means, which makes you a dumbass about it. Now, an ass is also an animal associated with what we also call a donkey. It can also be called an ass, right? Now, another thing is a part of the human anatomy can also be called an ass, right? But again, that's a legal term, right? It's like saying penis, right? If it's a legal word, right, and it has a definition, the Bible does not say you cannot use a word under those circumstances, right? Ever, because that's censoring a word description for something you do, right? And nobody can do that if that's what someone calls that particular thing, right? You're doing with that part of your anatomy, right? And that is also called an ass, right? Well, the word they'll sometimes use is shit, right? But some people are so sensitive to the word, they don't even want it said to their children, right? And they get so angry about it, right? That they want to send you to hell for it and kill you over it. Sounds like to me, right? Damn. Now, a lot of you people are on TV. Well, guess what? I got talent similar to you, and nobody even wants me on TV. I wonder why. Are you saying I don't have the it factor to get on TV? I highly doubt it. Even disabled, I think I'm a decent looking fellow at 51. But whatever. I can't do it all by myself, nor can you. Nor can you. For me, it ain't simply showing up for an American Idol thing, right? Or America's Got Talent, and you just picking me out the crowd for some reason, right? It seems I can't do it that way. And I wonder why. Because I have the same talent as some of the people I see on TV, right? So what's going on? Someone's trying to screw me over, it seems. And now, I also noticed a lot of you are related, though, who are in the business. Like today on Kelly Clarkson, you have Carney Wilson, right? Wendy, Lola, and Brian, right? Whoever the hell they are to you, right? But I don't know them. I know, right? But their parents were part of a band, right? I think, if I'm correct, called the Mamas and the Papas. I think Carney Wilson, her mother was in the band. Right? The mom was in the Papas or something, right? And the only reason I know that is, like I said, if I'm trying to get into the entertainment industry, I, of course, have to follow some of the things I hear on the radio, right? But some of the things I hear on the radio contradict copyright law, especially the educational part of it, where you can teach certain things in copyright the material if it's teachable. And guess where I learned to sing anyway in school? In school. I did that. Guess who can sing and impersonate a bunch of people like Jimmy Fallon can do on The Tonight Show? Shane Lee, right? Guess who can also change the wording to the song and make it either a good song or a different song, right? Even then, or a different song for a band, for example, like AC/DC. I did a song called Powder Keg, right? Because you got to run electrical wires sometimes to blow up a bomb, right? And one of their songs was TNT, right? So based on that, I made a Powder Keg as a song. You could put in the wire on the electrode. And that's good as hell. Fuck you. You crazy. And I'm not meaning I want to fuck you. I mean, get the hell out of my face. I can impersonate AC/DC and make him a song. And something's wrong with you. If we're not hearing the same thing, you being an ass. And that's why I'm saying all this. You're making me. No. And I'm saying it because I'm disabled and I can't do a lot of working. And if I were to find a job, I need to do something where I could do it in a short amount of time, like, say, in under 2 hours, right? Well, from what I hear, that's how long a concert with one of these rock bands usually is. Couple hours a week, and then, you're off for the rest of the week. Until next week, if you go on city to city, right? And you got a whole week to get to the next city, too, right? I think I could do something like that, right? But again, I don't have the hookup, right? Someone's treating me like I'm a foreigner. Even though I can impersonate the band Foreigner. Alright? And teach you how to do it. Under musical copyright laws, right? To make it something legal, too. Now, like I told you, right? If I could change my voice from one star to another, right? I'm just teaching you how I learned to do it, right? Which covers fair use, right? Laws as well, and copyright laws. So you can't just bully me out of the industry because I can do good impersonations. You need more than that, right? Especially if part of fair use includes education, critiquing, and asking certain questions. Well, one of the things I heard is some of you use auto-tune or something like that, right? I don't know what that is, right? Some of you don't, right? So, as a reporter, right, and doing a book report on your song, right, and the lyrics in your song, right, and how you sound on the radio, I'm asking you, why is it that you sound different live than on the radio sometimes, right? Are you just singing it freestyle? Or is something else going on? Right. I don't know. See, I just need a question there, right? To make it something legal. And then I gotta parody you somehow. Well, another way to parody someone is to sing like them, right? See, that's another form of parodying someone, right? It's also called mocking them, right? Because they're acting an ass about what they can do, and they act like only they can do it. You don't know why, because anyone can sing, right? What you were taught when you were a little boy or a little girl. So that seems to be the issue here, huh? For me. But it don't change that I can do it at any time, right? With or without your permission, right? If I learn to really do it, right? And it can teach you how to do it, right? That means I'm meeting all the criteria for fair use, right? And you can't say I'm not trying to do it under fair use. I even tell you if I like how you did the song, even if you edited it together somehow into one final production, right? And I also tell you whether I like your version of that song or not, right? And can teach people how to sing it correctly or differently than you, right? Just like you or so differently than you, right? Even. Now, one of the songs I keep singing is Row Your Boat. Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream. Now, to sing that song correctly every time, you have to stay within those parameters of that song, right? Those are the correct notes I've heard before from someone, right? Who sung it similarly, who I'm now seeing it like, right? Who I'm now teaching you how I learned to do that, right? By listening to the person who originally sung the song that way and imitating them, right? So now I'm imitating them. Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream. Now, if I do that every time, right, that's the correct way I learned to sing that song, right? And I'm teaching you then how to sing that song, right? And I can do the same with copyright material up to a certain percentage, which is usually 10%, right, of your total material. But you're acting weird about it. You're acting like we can't do it at all. No, wrong, right? There's a certain percentage that can be allowed to use under fair use practices, right? Which means whether I have your permission or not, if I'm using it for educational purposes, right? To teach people how to sing your song, right? I know. And do it in an educational format, right? Say I give you credit for writing the song, right? And your band credit for producing the song, right? And then I start teaching people how to sing your song. That's legal fair use, right? And you can't do nothing about it, right? I don't need your permission then if I'm teaching people how to sing your song, right? Never did. That's what fair use is for. So you cannot get so big in your britches and you're a singer like any other singer on the radio, right? And you think you're better than everybody else, don't you? That's another thing I'm worried about is narcissism among people who do music, right? See, you're getting a swelled head when you think only you can sing the song in the first place, right? Anyone can sing a song. In fact, the commercial for Coca-Cola is sing a song, make it simple to last the whole night long. Mm-hmm. Well, if you're gonna sing a song, right, anyone who wants to sing with you should be free to sing with you under educational purposes, at least, even in copyright law. Mm-hmm. And that seems to be your problem. You want to own everything you're writing, like only you can do it. Right? Wrong again, right? Now, why does George Lucas gets to make a lightsaber, right? But I can't. Because I was only 7 years old when he did the movie, or 8 years old when he did the movie. And I didn't even have a chance to come up with a lightsaber. Right. Exactly why. Exactly why. But could I have, before I even heard of George Lucas, right, with or without George Lucas, on my own, right, come up with the concept of a lightsaber? Yes, with a flashlight, and the idea of it cutting through something, right, like a real sword, right, making it an energy type sword, right, or an energy weapon, right, meaning something makes the light capable of harming the human being, right, to where it might could kill the human being, even, right, if you were to puncture the human being with the beam that comes out of the sword to make it a lightsaber, which is what saber means, sword, right? Now I'm educating you what a sword is also called a saber. So a lightsaber, according to my understanding, is also called a light sword, right? Right? It's about 4 feet long or so. Like either a two-edged sword, which means it has two edges on both sides, right? Or a single-edged blade like a katana using for the Japanese. Or say a Tai Chi sword that the Chinese use, which is also a double-bladed edge. Because it's sharpened on both sides, right? It's also called a Chinese broadsword, which also, any sword that has a two edge is a broadsword. And that's what I mean. I'm educating you, right? So I'm not just talking or whistling Dixie to you, which is a code they had with the song Dixie, which I don't even know what it was, right? Because I'm not part of that movement, right? But whatever it means, there's a code in the song Dixie from the South during the Civil War. Now, there were a lot of people, though, on both sides, who fought, okay, for their feelings about this particular constitutional idea of owning another human being, right? And making them work for you. And they had to work for you no matter what conditions you had them living in, right? And they could not work with anyone else unless they bought that person from you, right? And you're trying to own human beings as slaves, right? And that's also a situation you put people in called debt slavery. Well, Jesus talks about forgiving people's debts, right? And forgiving their debtors, right? He also talks about trespasses where people do people wrong and forgiving those who trespass against us, right? That's the problem with everybody. You either want to be a debtor, a debt collector, right? Or place a debt on someone as well. Well, if you do that to me, well, that's the problem. You're trying to make me your slave. But yeah, I can do things that other people are making millions of dollars for, but I can't do it myself. Right. Exactly. So I have a problem with that. FYI, for your information. But anyway, I'm still here, Lulabelle. Even if I gave you the weekend off, right? To see if you would let it go. which you did not let it go. So we're still in the situation between me and you. I don't know who the hell you are. I don't know if I bet you had a car wreck or a 3-story fall I was involved with. But if I did, you attacked me at both places because you know too much about me, as if we carried on the conversation at one event or the other. If not, I still don't know who you are, so you're obviously stalking me like a male predator. And even though I don't know who you are, I know you have a problem with me. And we need to straighten this shit out. And you need to quit doing it because it's wrong, right? And you're not supposed to be doing it. Now, if you're a big enough baby that you know you're doing something you're not supposed to do, you're going to do it anyway, right? And you're getting away with it for now. One day, okay, the warning is, if I'm not doing nothing you're accusing me of, right, you're going to get caught doing the same thing you're accusing me of. Because you're trying to make me do it and I don't do it, right? Because if I did do it, I'd already be caught, right? And there's only a few girls I'm around, right? Trying to be with their mothers because of the age difference, right? Now, if I'm in my 20s and the daughter's closer to me than the mother, right? But I'm with the mother, I'm not supposed to be with the daughter too anyway. And I know that, right? So I don't go after the daughter if I was already with the mother, right? But I know that can happen, but only if the daughter is being harassed by the mother or someone else, right? Who wasn't even involved with me and the mother, right? And I'm trying to tell them to stop because you're messing with my stepdaughter about this. And she has something to do with me, nor me her, right? We were never alone or in a compromising position, right? To do anything, right? With one another, right? See, usually to do that, you got to totally isolate the child you want to do that with. So that while in the process of trying to do that, if you do something that accidentally hurt the child and the child cries out in pain or something, right? Which would be my problem with it because I know that with my ex-wife right there, if I do something sexual, and she's only 4, I can harm the child, right? And make her cry out in pain, right? For that very reason, I'm not going to really touch her at all sexually, unless, again, I'm tending to the needs of a 4-year-old child in my presence, right? Which, like I told you, there's legal things I can do with the child as a step parent. Like any step parent, if they need to, can get a child something to drink in the middle of the night. Or something to eat. They can also, if the child was to wake them up, help them go potty. They don't need the other parent for that. Even if they're in a fight with the other parent, right? They're not going to harm the child just because the child doesn't know where the bathroom is and wandered into the living room. Who knows? Who knows why? And then, again, or if she needs a shower or something like that, even, right? But these are logical reasons, right? The child would come into you. They're not illegal. They're not illegal to deal with. Right. Even if someone was to have an illegal tape recorded without me and my ex-wife's permission, right? Because see, the living room, when it's night, is my private area, right? It's no different, right? Than someone sleeping in the bedroom, right? Because sometimes if you have a guest over, they might have to sleep on the couch, and that's their private area in the morning, right? From 11 p.m. to, say, 6 or 7 a.m., that's my private area. No one should come in there, not even my ex-wife or her daughter, right? But if they do, all I can do is deal with it as a step-parent, right? And I'm only telling you there's only certain legal things I can do with a child And I know those legal things, even though I'm mentally ill, and would never do anything to harm the child, even if me and her mother were previously in a fight where she lived in Sherman, Tennessee, on the way to meet her parents, right? But unlike Ben Stiller's character, right? My wife left me stranded on the side of the road when going to meet the parents, right? And his is a fictional movie, by the way. Mine really happened. This is called an autobiography. Says I'm the one telling you. But if Christ explained to them from Moses to Malachi, and maybe even the Apocrypha, and maybe even the obscure writings, right? How he was the true Messiah. You're screwed because he accepted it all about him, right? But you can't, right? Who's telling you my Jesus ain't your Messiah? His enemy, his son, right? Who you call Satan, right? Or Lucifer or Halo. We would be the only one who would have a problem with you and Jesus accepting each other, right? Because he don't accept the Father, right? Or the Son, right? Or the Holy Ghost, or that you need a female to make both, right? For a male to be a father, he needs a woman to have a child with, right? Hello? Or you can't have a child, right? And you're just one piece of a puzzle box that can't fit into a keyhole to open the door for your child to come through with a woman, right? But you can, right, if you have a woman, right? But if the woman was taken out of you, right, you were changed and aren't in the same form. If you read chapter 5 right, Adam was in the image of God, right? But Eve was taken out of him. But after that, they both produced children, male and female. One in the likeness of him and the other in the likeness of her. Now, if they were one at one point, and the male and female are one in Christ Jesus, and Jesus has theos in Revelations, in John chapter 13, and mastois in Revelations, what is he, Lord Shiva? That he has breasts of a woman and the chest of a man? Or can he morph, as Mark said, into a different form, right? Or can he become metamorph, which means transfiguration into two other people, right? Who appeared with him, right? If he can do that, he's the true God of all flesh, right? Androgynous, male and female. But if you're a male or a female or a hermaphrodite, you're only one of the three images of God, right? You're neither. You're male or female or hermaphrodite, right? But Jesus can be all three and transfigure into two other people. And stand with them as three. Three also appeared to Abraham and Sarah. And again, I will not be dumb. I will see the truth. And I will hear the truth. And I will speak the truth. If you want to play dumb, that means you're blinding your eyes to what these scriptures are saying, right? You're closing your ears to what you would hear and listen and understand they are saying. And then you will not teach it to others, but are teaching them your version of the Bible, which is false. Because you're not teaching them the whole Bible. You're not even teaching them that the divine name is feminine in form, because it ends with an H, right? Like the name Sar in the word Yisrael, or the new name of Jacob, right? The word Sar is prince. Abram's wife was given a new name, Sarah. She was Sarai with a Y. Sry. But now she's Sarah with an H. Now the divine name has 4 consonants, YHWH, right? The word or name for Elijah the prophet in Hebrew is Eliyahu, which means God my Yahoo. Or in English, my God Yahoo. Now Yahoo and Sar are masculine. Sarah is feminine. So what would be the opposite of Yahoo? Yahuwah. Right, Jews? So YHWH, right, is Yahuwah. And this is why Elijah, the prophet, ran from the woman Jezebel because of the feminine use of the divine name, right? Because it's feminine in origin, right? And masculine, right? But the male and female are one in Christ Jesus too, right? And he can become male and female individually, And they even converse with his androgynous self, right? And with Abraham and Sarah. And the 2 went on the Sodom, and the 1 stayed with Abraham, right? The androgynous one stayed with Abraham. The male and female went to the city, to see what would be done to them, And they wanted to know them to the point where they were breaking down Lot's store and had to be struck blind so they could leave the city, right? Now, the word they used again is know, that we may know them, right? This word know implies sexual knowledge, not just as a friend, right? The men wanted sex with both the male and his female. And this also happened again in Judges, where a judge was in similar circumstances, and men from the town wanted to have sex with him. He sent out his concubine, and they knew her all night till morning, right? So much so that she died from the abuse done to her body. And the Levite was so upset with these men that he cut his concubine into 12 pieces and sent the 12 pieces to the 12 tribes of Israel to get them to fight against these men who did such a wicked thing to his concubine. And that's why some of you don't understand why some people fear gay people, and some people don't. Because not every gay person does that either. You know what I mean? Right? But some people don't get what that means. Jesus says not to judge, lest you be judged in any sin, right? To forgive a homosexual who is sleeping with a willing homosexual, if they don't see it as something wrong for them, and who are you to judge them that they're doing something wrong, right? And yet, I don't judge them, but I was taught to be with a woman, but even then, right, they weren't taught the same things, right? So I cannot say I'm better than them for marrying a woman or worse than them for marrying a woman, right? Because I don't know who I'm supposed to marry either. But I was taught to marry a woman to have a child with, right? And with that child, so on and so forth. He can't even tell. He told me that. If it's his mine or someone else's, totally different. I know. Because of recessive DNA, we both have, right? And again, I still need the keys back to the front door so I can, or you want me to change the locks or something, right? I still gotta wait till I got the money for that, by the way, right? I also gotta talk to my caseworkers, right? Because I might be getting a lump sum of money anywhere between 15 to 50,000, right? In the next upcoming year or two, right? And I don't know how to do all that legally. That's why. And everything I'm using is entitled to a disabled person. Yes. Even the ability to buy food, right, on a stamp program, right, where I can get good food in the house, right, even though I'm making money through the VA that don't count as income, right, because you can't tax it, right. And even though I'm getting Social Security money, I can work a part-time job and work up to 9 months making $8.90 a month, right, on both disabilities, right. One is with the VA, which, that don't count towards my income. I know. And the other is through SSI, which means I paid into it, right? From the time I started working, right, in Garden City, right, at Revco, till the time I joined the Navy, till after the Navy, until 1998, right, when I went on disability, right. And even then, I tried to work at least under $500 for 9 months, right? Off and on, off and on. But could never make the full 9 months, right? That's right. All that's legal, all that's legal. Now, food stamps gives me under the $8.92, right? By the way. And if you supplement my income, right? And I need medical too, right? I don't have medical either. Because the VA don't set up separate medical for a person who's disabled versus a person who has had track care, right? Which is a actual insurance, right? See, I don't have insurance as a disabled veteran, right? At all. So I need insurance to go even to the ER. Well, the state can pay that for me too, and it's still under the $8.90 a month, right? I'm just trying to make sure we're not misappropriating funds for a disabled person here, right? I'm telling you what I need and what's going on and where I'm at and my disability too. I'm also trying to rehabilitate, right? So there we are. I watch martial arts videos because before I fell, I was a martial artist. Right? I could work a full-time job, right? Part-time job 2 or 3 days a week in addition to, right? Go to school, right? And stay under 150 pounds. Now I'm 370 pounds, right? Trying to lose weight but can't, right? Can only afford the food I can afford now, right? Which is what I learned to eat growing up, right? Which they're saying now isn't healthy for me, right? But it's what I'm used to eating, right? So is that the knowledge of good and evil as well? To me it is. Stuff I could eat, I can't eat anymore, right? Because now it's something bad for me because I can't exercise the same to keep the weight down. Right. Which before I could exercise 7 days a week, walking, running, biking, right? And now I can't even ride the neighborhood on my bike. And that's the point. Have a good day.